Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective, Cowboys free agency talk. So this is going to be a follow-up to the video I made on the first day of free agency where I was very frustrated at our inactivity. And, since then we've made some minor moves. We are bargain basement shopping at this point. Doesn't seem that we're very interested in any substantial trades, but we'll see. Still relatively early. Before the draft and whatnot. But just to break down to the moves that we have made, we did trade for Jameis Oluwale formerly of the Oakland Raiders after they signed our fullback Keith Smith. So we have Jameis to replace him, who was also a former Cowboy that was cut in favor of Keith Smith. We signed Deontay Thompson, formerly of the Buffalo Bills. This will be his 6th team in 7 seasons. But he's a speed guy, so somebody that can potentially help us on the outside, considering we're probably not going to bring back Bryce Butler. And then we have Joe Thomas, formerly of the Green Bay Packers, who's another former Cowboys practice squad cast-off. So a few interesting moves there. The trade for Jameis, in terms of impact on the starting lineup, he's probably going to be the biggest one out of those 3 guys, just because he fills a position of need. We'll probably bring in some other bodies for camp and whatnot, but he's pretty much going to be the guy. We'll see if he's I thought Keith Smith was excellent in the run game, especially for Zeke, and I was one of those people that always lobbied to use him more, especially in short yardage. I always felt like a fullback can always help the running back navigate. Cowboys like to do a lot of single back stuff. And obviously so for stretch plays and stuff to get on the perimeter. But I haven't seen Jameis play too much. I've honestly, most of his highlights have had him more with the ball. He looks like somebody who can catch the ball out of the backfield. I know when he was on the Cowboys, he ran pretty hard whenever he had an opportunity to carry the football. But honestly, we have a bell cow for that. We need somebody who's going to be more of an elite run blocker, and help out with occasional leaks out of the backfield. So we'll see if he can be a efficient player for us. This discussion is going to be most around Thompson and Joe Thomas. Starting with Thompson, he's a guy that I followed quite closely when he was coming out of high school. Actually, over 10 years ago, going into the University of Florida. He was a very highly touted recruit at the time. Didn't play up to expectations at Florida. Did test well and was an undrafted guy, because these undrafted people always seem to find their way on the Cowboys. That just seems to be our trend. But anyway, he was a 4-3 guy, but that was 7 years ago, and here we are, his 6th team in 7 seasons. He did have probably his most productive year as a receiver with the Bills last year, especially towards the end. So there's a little bit of an uptick in terms of him trending favorably. He still looks like, just from the film and the highlights that I've seen of him, he still looks like he can get behind the defense and has that speed. But my thing with him has always been inconsistent hands and inconsistent route running. And we already have that with Terrence Williams. Now, granted, he's faster, and a lot of us have been lobbying for speed, and we're not going to be resigning Bryce Butler, it looks like, for obvious reasons. So with Thompson, hopefully he's a guy that's this is it, everything clicks, and he can be a hidden gem. But at this point, and I've heard some great Cowboys YouTubers talk about it, and a few guys have brought it up. When do we actually start looking at Terrence Williams? This conversation has been very Dez-centric, and obviously so, because of the cap hit that he carries and the number that he carries. But when you look at Terrence Williams not scoring a touchdown last year and just not challenging the defense, guys can just throw their second corner over there, and forget about it. He's almost taken away. Doesn't make a whole lot of plays. And granted, we're not a high volume passing offense, but we need efficiency and somebody to really threaten the outside over there. And that was a lot of our frustration of why Bryce Butler should have probably gotten more opportunities last year, because it seemed like he was apt at making plays. He had 3 touchdowns in limited play time, and Terrence Williams plays the whole time and has no touchdowns. So hopefully Thompson can be a guy. He started to develop a little bit of chemistry, it seemed like, with Tyrod Taylor last year. Hopefully with Dak looking to have a good rebound season, we can get some of that productivity from a kid like Thompson, or a guy like Thompson. He's not a kid, obviously, but it's not enough for me, and it shouldn't be enough for you guys either. This is a team, and Colin Cowherd astutely pointed out, we've won 22 games over the last 2 seasons. I know last year was very disappointing for obvious reasons, but 22 wins, 11 wins per year with a very, very tough slate. And my frustrations is not that I think we suck, or I don't think we need to go out and make all these moves. But I do feel that we're close. And if you see a team win last year, the backup quarterback, a backup left tackle, and you see just how buttoned up they were from a coaching standpoint, how buttoned up they were in their front office to make sure that they had ample personnel throughout the 53-man roster for people to step up and when they were called upon. Our roster is still very top heavy. We have a lot of talent, which is why we're a 22-win team over the last 2 years. But my frustration is us not recognizing windows. There is a window of opportunity here before you have to pay an Ezekiel Elliott, before you have to potentially pay a Dak Prescott, depending on his performance. So you have to analyze all these things. And there's too many people on this roster. I went over that last video, but there's too many people on this roster that are making a lot of money that are inhibiting our cap. Forget the dead money with Romo and all those guys. Too many people on this roster inhibiting the money to where we're not able to, that are not productive enough. And you guys know who they are. Joe Thomas fills a need. I think we did need to sign a linebacker. He started a lot of games for the Packers in 2016. Didn't play very much last year, but we lost Kyle Wilber, who was a core special teamer. So he can help there. With our linebackers being very banged up, that could be something. So with this all kind of, those are our moves. That's pretty much it. But it puts a lot of pressure on the draft, and it starts to shape up where we could look to go early. I think linebacker is now something to where, depending on which one of these guys falls, the Cowboys really could be looking at a linebacker, at 19, unless they sign, Navarro Bowman or somebody like that, which I don't think they're going to make a move. If Derwin James starts to fall, they could go after him and potentially look to trade up, but we'll see. I think right now it's going to be linebacker, safety, and wide receiver is still something, in my opinion, that needs to be looked at. I know the Cowboys have met with Calvin Ridley, and I would also be interested in a Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk kind of my guy, just because I think he was underused at Texas A&M, but he was still very, very productive. He's a very explosive player and can play at all levels, an offense, slot, outside, as well as special teams. So, and I think he would take a lot of pressure off Dez. I think that's, that would be my guy. But I would not be disappointed, and I think linebacker is a huge need for us. Just having another playmaker on defense, really, whether it's at the linebacker level or at the safety level, that has to get buttoned up. We all know that the Cowboys don't value big nose tackles or defensive tackles. So the dreams of getting a guy like a Vita Vea or any of these other folks, it's probably unlikely. The only other move I could see, though, is offensive line. Jonathan Cooper, I believe, signed with the 49ers. And we're not really sure what the Cowboys are going to do with La'el Collins. So tackle, just knowing the issues they had last year, especially with Tyron Smith's back, that's something we could also look into either first or second round as well. Because with linemen, I like to draft linemen earlier, because once you get out of the second round, the drop off in quality is stark. Whereas more outside guys like wide receivers or running backs, you can still find that stuff third, fourth, fifth round in the draft. So we'll see. Those are just the minor moves we did, just a little Cowboys recap. But you guys let me know if there's any moves you'd like to see us make, if you guys want to see us go It sounds like this Earl Thomas thing is kind of dead, but we'll see what happens. We could look at a guy like a Kenny Vaccaro, maybe, not as much money, but a similar type prove it deal that the Honey Badger got from the Texans. Who knows? We'll see. But I'd like to see the Cowboys pick it up, and they're putting a lot of pressure on themselves for this draft, guys. So we'll see. It'll be exciting. I might be able to get up there for the draft since it's in Dallas, but more details on that coming. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it as always.